Your neighbor tells you about the unstable man in the cul-de-sac who claims to have been abducted by aliens. And then there's the woman in town who claims to see Bigfoot all the time. Your boss, who you greatly admire, confides in you that he has started speaking with his wife daily when he gets home from work. She died 8 years ago. It's hard to believe this stuff, and you write these stories off as overactive imaginations. Are these people seeking attention, or are they a bit unstable? No matter what you think, if you're like me, you walk away wondering, what if that was true? The What If It's True podcast features stories by ordinary people like you and me. Something has happened to them, something so strange they are in agony unless they tell others. My name is Cameron Buckner, and the What If It's True podcast is available at whatifitstruepodcast.com and on all available podcast apps.
Welcome to Beast TV. What was that? You better get a fresh dip and buckle up. Larry, I remember the cameras tonight.
Hey, you're doing better.
I'm still a rookie.
Me too.
We want to thank everybody that's joined in on the chat and watching us live. We want to thank Mike's Adventure and Tim T for showing us some love already, even before we get started.
Yeah, maybe we are to give up before we get started. We already made some money. Let's just go on.
Well, what kind of day have you had?
Terrible. It's raining. It's cold. Well, it ain't cold, but it's getting chilly.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good day. It just wasn't. I felt like I was in the middle of a butt kicking circle, and every way I turned to address whatever, I'd get kicked in the butt the other way and have to address something else.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I'm beat down right now, but I'll go to sleep and wake up tomorrow and try it again.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I noticed today while I was out is these leaves are starting to turn.
Yeah.
And so you know what comes next. They fall off, which is really what we kind of wait on to do most of our boogering that we do. It really aids us with using thermals and being able to see better.
Yeah, and it makes eating chili better.
I'm just glad you used a spoon.
Yeah, I was telling my coworker about our trip where I ate chili off the ground. I said, dude, when you're a couple of miles back in the woods and that chili hits the ground, it's going down.
Yeah.
You got limited food, and if that was your prime food for the weekend, you're gonna eat it.
Yeah, sticks and all.
Oh man.
Well, if we got anything coming up soon,
man, let me think about it. Thanksgiving.
We got Thanksgiving.
We got Halloween coming up this week.
Yeah. And you know what happened last year on Halloween
Yeah,
weekend?
yeah. That's the anniversary of the Reed Noble Trackway, ain't it?
Yep, sure is. And thank goodness we got critical thinkers out there.
Oh, I don't even, man. I don't understand. I don't. Why some people's only influence on the Bigfoot community is totally negative all the time.
Yeah.
But
I just wonder how often those people get out in the woods. Yeah.
I would say 0. But they've had 23 sightings. I'm out in the woods a lot.
Well, I tell you what, we got a great show tonight, and we are welcoming back one of our favorite people. He has such enthusiasm, and I'm just going to let you go ahead and introduce him.
All right. Tonight's guest is Stacy Brown. He's everything from a movie maker, director, actor, and goes back to Bigfoot research and paranormal research. He's a dude with a bunch of gifts, I believe.
Welcome, Stacy. How you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. It's been hectic, but I'm doing all right. Still here, can't complain.
Yeah.
I'm a dude with a scattered mind.
So are we.
My only problem is I have like this. It really annoys me when I don't finish a project, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So if I don't get something done that I start, I can go into this like loser mentality, I guess. Like seriously, I'll get bummed out, So
Right.
that's why my mind's all over the place. I do all these different things. I enjoy them, and I only want to do things that I enjoy. I only got one go around here that I know of. I got reason to believe I've had other go rounds, but that's another talk for another day. So I just stay busy, man. If I want to do something, let's go do it. Why not?
I hear you. So what's your focus on nowadays?
Well, right now, I am just finishing the first episode of this trilogy that I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I guess, Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures, but rated R.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
language and some of the stuff we're doing. It's a group we formed. Me, Bill Brock, my buddy RPG. He was on Expedition Bigfoot. He was a producer for Finding Bigfoot for years. We formed this group, Outcast Paranormal, and so basically we just push the envelope of everything that normally you would do on any kind of experiment. Whether that be you're looking for Bigfoot or you're looking for ghosts, or aliens, even at that. Like all the shows are the same. You're just switching out the cast. You're doing the same exact things over and over and over again. Like maybe Expedition Bigfoot has some new tech. Okay, that's their real strong point. You know what I mean? But like, look at Ghost Adventures. That is the best of all of them, in my opinion. Just from a production standpoint, they really have their formula down and they nail it. They've been nailing it for years. But they get stuck in doing the same things over and over again. So our group's more open to, well, for instance, we were on this trilogy, we're in a haunted house. And sometimes proof of the paranormal is not something you can hand somebody. It's more of a personal experience. And so RPG took mushrooms and was going to do a mirror gazing experiment to see what he could see. You know, we're trying to, and that's what I'm talking about. Some of the off the walls, like out of the box. You guys have been doing the same thing for 60 years and have nothing.
Right.
But let's just be honest. What's came out? What has happened since 1967? Nothing. My dad got his footage. That's about it. We've got audio, the Sierra sounds, but even with my dad's footage, that was by chance. We didn't do nothing special. We didn't do nothing we don't do every single time we go out there. Just right place, right time.
Right.
And that's what you're looking at when you're looking at with like Bigfoot. Another thing with the group is we all have different beliefs. I have a very different belief from everybody in the group about Bigfoot. RPG, you know, he has his own beliefs, and then Bill even has his own beliefs, and our other guy James, you know, it's like it changes. So like on our first trilogy, we go to Mayaka, and a bunch of us in the group have been with me for years, right? A lot of us have been on TV, and that was more of the reason for making this, because we're tired of television. I mean, like people say, "Hey, you know, we want to be on TV. That's the way to go. That's the way to go." I got news for you, bud. When you're on TV, they make you say stuff.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I like Russell, like a really good friend of mine. I don't believe anything that they find on that show.
Well, you're not alone.
Nothing against him. I could be wrong, but let's just think about it here, okay? You've got a production company, a network, which is basically a bank, okay? That bank's making a loan to a production company to film a certain type show that they've sold us. You know what I mean? That we liked. We bought the concept. So now we're going to give them $3 million. Like Bigfoot Bounty, they gave them $5 million. That was a big production. But they want something. They want you to bring it back. They want that return. So how do we know? How do we know that we're going to get something on our return? Oh, hey, what we're going to do is find chimp DNA in Kentucky when you're carrying around pheromones. All right. And they just, it's like, hey, bud, chimps are, you know, they live around the equator, very close to it.
Right.
They don't have the hooded nose, and the temperatures of Kentucky is not happening. So unless that was a pet or you put out the urine, you know, and then so where does this news break? Comicbook.com. It doesn't, you know what I'm saying? So like maybe they, I don't know. A lot of things were busted after season 1, and that's just the thing with every show. Okay. It's not these people's fault. And I may be completely wrong. This show may be 100% real, and I'm just looking like a fool. But I don't think so, you know, because it's the same thing with every show. And when you make something independently, like in this group, there's 6 filmmakers, basically. And we all love to do the same stuff. So I can go and make a film. It's 100% accurate. Some of our experiments don't pan out. Never will, you know? And that's a lot of it. But you feel like you're there when you're watching it. It's shot a very different way. I guess we kind of tried to reinvent the wheel when it comes to these shows. We wanted it edited differently. So like most shows run linear, like, hey, we got there Monday, that was day 1, and then we go to day 2, and then we go to day 3. Well, the beautiful thing about ours is we have experiments. Okay, and these experiments are based off of the locals that we talk to in the area. We have one guy that claims the Sasquatch cursed him. Okay, so there's certain things we need to do to not have this curse, you know, things like that. You have another one who makes it just sound like there's an ape, and then there's another one with some paranormal stuff. who am I to tell them they're wrong? They may all be right. So I'm not sitting up here and saying we know any more about Bigfoot than we did 60 years ago, because we don't. These things may be paranormal. Like, who am I? Who are you to sit there and say that? Nobody knows for sure, because we ain't got one. We ain't poked it. We ain't kept it in a cage and seen what it does for a little while. Can't really view them in the wild. You know, I heard a theory the other day, kind of made some sense. It was the flat Bigfoot theory, kind of like the flat Earth. So Bigfoot, you can see him this way, but when he turns this way, he's invisible because he's flat. So that's about where we're at. You know what I mean? Nobody really knows. Yeah. So you have to try stuff differently, and that's what we do. We can get away with doing mushrooms on camera. You know what I mean? We have an occultist in our group. A lot of people that don't understand like magic and stuff like that, they consider it to be like Satanist type stuff. It's really not, but you know, you don't see these paranormal shows. They don't have an occultist coming in and doing things of that nature, like doing rituals and this, that, and the other. And so that's been, it started out, I guess, as a pleasure project to do something really cool, and sitting here and looking at it at the end, it's awesome. Like the way it's cut, the cuts are really short. So like I was saying, you don't have day 1, day 2, day 3. You'll have like, we're at this experiment for a segment, and then we switch to this experiment for a segment, and this one, and then back and forth. You know what I mean? Till the segments culminate there at the end. So it's got a good pace to it, and I'm just like super proud. And it's like I've made a lot of stuff, but I ain't never made nothing like this. This is like stands out. I think people will copy it.
Well, that's the number one gripe that most people have that do a TV production, is that they're controlled and the subject is already pretty much laid out what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and blah, blah. And they edit everything to make it look like the evidence is stacking up. And then at the end of the show, they let you back down.
Right. And, you know, but that's the rules they have to play. The bank's loaned them this money. Right. They want their money back. They sell commercials. Those 30-second commercials are about $40,000 a piece. Yeah. You know, so they got to make their money. And that's however many people watch that show is however many people are actually, you know, that's how much they're paying for that commercial. So it kind of goes like that. You got certain ratings, and like if you're Duck Dynasty, commercials are probably like $1 million.
Yeah.
But
yeah. And I think you touched on something a little earlier. I know Larry and myself, we've got different beliefs, but we have the respect for each other. And I think having different beliefs is really healthy. And, you know, we talk about Bill and RPG and what they bring to the table. And if you've got that common respect for one another, then you are going to listen to the other guy's ideas as if it was your own. And then when you try these experiments, you're going to give it 100%, whether if it's your belief or not. And I think that says a lot about y'all's group with like Outcast Paranormal.
Yeah, you know, because that's also another fun thing, because I honestly don't have a belief on Bigfoot at all. I know they're real, and that's where it stops. I have no idea what these things are. I've seen the lights. I've had the camera equipment malfunction over a dozen times. Yeah. Like while having encounters. So have to think about some of that. You can't just like, oh yeah, these things are happening. We're not gonna pay it no mind. Where do you go? How do you get further when you do that? Because like if I wanted to come to my own conclusion, I would do it. And so do the police. Like, have you seen Making a Murderer? If you want to come to the conclusion that guy did it, you got your proof. And that's how it goes. You can't do that. You have to go in there and look at all the things. Like, oh, well, hey, the victim said that they saw a dude in a Billy Joel t-shirt. Why ain't we looking for that guy? Oh, because you want it to be this guy over here. That's
Right.
why. And you can't really go that route. But it's fun, man. We're having a blast. And it's like the camera crew is part of it too. You know what I mean? Like it's not shot like a normal show. So it's just, I'm super stoked about it. Ready to get it out. So we're looking like January to be called the Skunk Ape Experiments.
Yeah.
And yeah, so looks great, man. Can't wait.
I know I've watched Bill since he was the rogue Bigfooter whenever he started on YouTube years ago. And he's kind of laid back and chill. And then you got RPG, it's wired and excited. He ain't.
That dude is like, you ever seen Over the Hedge when that little squirrel takes the energy drink? It's like, boom!
Yep.
And so he's like, he emceed an event, the Skunk Ape Conference, and like, you couldn't have got somebody better, because you just need somebody up there to talk till the next guy's ready. You got to put this guy on a schedule, because he's gonna fill that time. He's gonna fill that time.
Well, you also spoke at that conference. What's your thoughts on how that conference went?
The conference was great. I never signed so many autographs in my life. You know what I mean? It was very engaging with the audience. Had a great talk there for about an hour on the reasons I believe the skunk ape's real. If I was basically, my speech was like, if we were in a meeting and I was trying to make you believe something, I guess if it was a court of law and I was a prosecutor or something, this would have been my case. And it was great, man. The audience was engaged. And it had a little panel there at the end where I was able to successfully bring up Bigfoot erotica after a guy answered a question. Like, everybody knew it was coming too. Cliff looks over at me. He's like, yep, he's going to go there. So I did. But yeah, it was it was fun time. There were so many people there. Great experience. And, especially I think we're blessed down here in a way because we have freedom. Like, we can have a conference like this where everybody's together. Because I was taking pictures with a lot of people. And so, like, nobody's wearing a mask. It's Florida. I didn't get COVID, but you know what I'm saying? It's like we have that choice to do that. So that's cool.
Right.
You had some people wearing a mask, but in other states, you don't even get conferences like this. You know what I mean? So if you want a conference like conferences were before all this stuff, they're having another one in January. So I'll be there. They asked me to bring the skunk ape again. So, because I have the monster from my movies is my buddy Josh. And so he does all my monster work. And he goes to these events with me, and you get to take a picture with me and the skunk ape, and he ends up getting more pictures than me. So I'll get caught into a conversation with somebody, and then he'll just, very entertaining. Our booth's always full, but yeah, it was a great time, man. Some good speakers, Cliff and Bobo, they always do a really good job. And then you had Robert Robinson and Dave Sadati. It was good. It was a good time.
Yeah. Speaking of squirrels and energy drinks, Connor Flynn told me that he went out with you last weekend.
Like, honestly, when you said that, I was like, "Yep, that's who you're about to bring up," and you did. That's so funny.
And let's not forget mushrooms.
I was driving, is all I'll say. So I didn't have all that fun, but everybody else, it was a good weekend. Like, it was cool. We went to the witch's grave, and this was the first time I got to investigate with Connor. Connor reminds me of myself when I was like his age. He's about 10 years younger than me, and he's just got this drive to keep going and keep doing it. And oh, wow, there's a report. Let me go to it, And it's honestly what he loves to do, right? So it was great to have him and his friends came out there. We had a new camera guy joining the group, so it was our first time working with him, and it was just like a little segments we're doing called Paranormal Road Tripping.
Yeah.
So we went to the witch's grave in Tallahassee, the White Witch of the East or something. Nothing really happened. We had some, I don't know, I'm gonna spoil the videos, I guess. But anyways, we had some cool stuff happen, but the spirit box session was kind of dead. Then we went to Natural Bridge, which was a Civil War battlefield in Woodville. That was nice. And then the next night we went to the Bellamy Bridge in Marianna, Florida, and the conversations, like, we did a whole series of things over the night, so we could try to amp the activity. That's what we try to do when we go to the place. We try to stir it up. It ain't our first experiments that are going to hit. It's the stuff we're doing later, like day 2. But this place, we were only there one night. So the last one, I tried to open a portal. This is one of the things I do there at the end. If it's not rolling out, I'll like, okay, let's see if we can get this. And the problem is that it works. Like, we'll do this thing, this chant, and then like activity happens. Usually during the middle of the chant, it'll start happening. But then we had a killer spirit box session. Like, it immediately answered me. I said, hello. And then it's like, hello. I said, thank you. And I said, you're welcome. Right. and now this is through the audio man. He's facing the bridge. We're behind him, and he's got these noise canceling headphones on. So I can't hear what's being said, but he says what he hears. So I sit back 10 yards from him, and I'm saying, I'm saying the questions. I'm not saying them loud. But then it kind of goes quiet, and then it spoke to Connor. He asked a question, and he got an answer, and then he ended up having this conversation with something.
Wow.
And it was, okay, because it like won't say bad words over the radio, like the FAA, or no, what is it, the FAC or something? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, FCC, that's it. It's a fine every time you say bad words, like curse words, and so that's something we'll do. We'll be like, hey, can you say a curse word? Sometimes you get, nothing. This time we got something.
Ooh.
And then he kept it going. And I don't want to spoil it, but it was really, really cool. And then like during all this, the EMF readers are spiking, the REM pods going off. Like, it was really cool for the last segment of the night. But yeah. Oh, and we shot the last while we were there. I used Connor's friends, and we shot the last insert for the first episode of this Skunk Ape experiments. But it was the hell of a weekend, very, very fun time. Connor's like a Wikipedia on crack or something, man, because he's just like knows everything, and he's just like balls to the wall. Dude doesn't get tired. He'll roll there and sleep in his car, and I'm like, I remember those days.
Yeah.
But now I'm 10 years older, and I feel like I'm 30 years older. So
yeah, it'll put dog ears on you.
It does, man.
Okay, let's talk about the pit.
Right on.
And it's pretty exciting. And I would just like to hear more about it.
Yeah, it's out. Anywhere you can stream movies. We ended up getting a deal with like DirecTV, Dish Network. I think Comcast has it on demand. It's of course on Amazon, YouTube Red. You rent it on YouTube. But yeah, it's been out since August, and it's really it's an intense movie. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not for everyone. People that like those kind of movies will love this. You know, it's got all manner of bad stuff. Basically, two guys, old army buddies, are going into the woods, go camping. They ain't seen each other in 20 years. And they fall into a sinkhole, a dry sinkhole here in Florida. And they're stuck, just them and the dog, for about 50 days. So that is basically the premise to the story. Kind of insanity film. He kind of Les's character takes a path, that hopefully no one ever takes. So, but it was a great film. Have a great time making it. I had the ups and downs of making it. My dad died the day after we finished filming. So, and then I was the editor on the project. So I had to then turn around and start editing that footage. And everything that's in the film, my dad built the whole set, all of that. The cave that we're in, we couldn't film in a cave in Florida because they consider them to be alive. So we had to build one, and my dad built us this 20-foot tall cave out of concrete and rebar. And then built this long tunnel for us. So it's hard to watch. And then the dog that's in the film, they're about 4 or 5 months after my dad passed. We had to put her to sleep, like, quick. It went quick, and it was rough there for a while. So, like, there was blood, sweat, and tears in that, for sure. But I'm finally glad it's seen the light of day. Because there for a minute I couldn't even look at it. It was like, damn. It was rough because me and my dad were like, "It's my best friend." I still from time to time pick the phone up to call him because that was like first thing I do when I get up in the mornings. I call my dad, see what he's up to today. And I usually swing over there at some point. And then you lose that, and you still have to finish this project that he was very much a part of. It was rough. So, but it's out, reviews or whatever. Like I said, if you like those kind of films, you'll love it. But if you don't like those kind of films, you're going to hate it. It's going to be terrible. Like, the language is rough. Some of the scenes are hard to look at. You know what I mean? So, but it was a cool process because Les was on board with it. And I had met him on the set of, what's that movie called? Interviewing Monsters. They changed the title like 4 times, so forgive me. Interviewing Monsters, and I was his assistant, so we did a lot of filming and a lot of hanging out and stuff. So then I wrote the synopsis. I hit him up, asked him if he'd be down to do it, and he was like, "Yeah, of course, man." And then I was able to get the money to make the movie the next day. So it kind of just fell into place, like, and the way from where the concept came up, we were shooting in like 4 months. Like, this thing went, it was like, strap in, bro. We're riding out, And so, what was I talking about? I had Joe Biden moment. Sorry about that. Let's go, Brandon.
That's right.
But yeah, so I walked out into the woods while we were filming the old Cheesy Wildman recreation for the Skunk Ape Lives. Walked out there to take a leak. And because there's kids on the set and stuff like that, I was like, I can't pee in front of these kids. So I walked out there in the woods. And my buddy's like, hey, be careful out there. There's pits all over these woods, and some of them are super deep. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm having a problem with my camera. That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, I came up with a concept right when he said that. I was like, wow, what if you fell in one of these and were stuck for the longest time? And then we had this whole script wrote up. And once, like after I'd say half for the second shoot, it was basically just ad lib the whole time. Like me and Les went back and forth so well, and it was like we were really arguing, you know. Some of the scenes that we knew where we had to start and we knew what we had to finish on, and we just went. And that was so. It was really cool to act with him. You know, that was a great time. Something I'll never forget. And he's such a cool dude. You know what I mean? He was good to my dad, my kids, and stuff like that. And you know, we had him this RV on site to stay in, like, you know, treating him like a you know, like a superstar or something. And he ends up in there sleeping with my dog in the dog bed. Like in the garage. And I was like, good Lord, dude. But hey, that's him, man. That's him. Very down to earth. And you know, he's very prissy at the same time because he's still Survivor Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, hey, oh, you didn't. That's not a French press. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, we only got the Keurig. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. And it's Folgers. All right. You know what? Don't worry about it. I'll be all good. I don't want no coffee after all.
Y'all did have good chemistry in the Interviewing Monsters movie. I did watch that, and I was very surprised when I saw Rick Dyer in that movie. How did that come to be?
Well, they needed somebody to play a hoaxer. And I suggested him.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, this dude is a hoaxer.
Yeah.
I was like, and if anything, people might watch it because they hate him.
Yeah.
I had no idea he was in there. And as I was watching the movie, I was like, ain't that it? That's him. That's Rick Dyer.
And I put a picture out with me and him because, hey, for what it is, and Rick could tell you he's a hoaxer.
Yeah.
Like, Rick ain't hiding it.
Right.
And I put a picture out with him, and boo, the flack I caught, like, oh my God.
I can imagine.
You know, it's like, oh, what is Stacy and Rick Dyer hoaxing something together? It's like, man, whatever. But Rick was really cool, and it's funny we brought up Rick because this whole Alec Baldwin stuff just happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So me and Rick, one of the people that I have a shootout with, out of the 2 or 3 people, I had a shootout with Tom Green, I think, as well, and then some other guy, but had one with Rick, okay? Yeah. And so these blanks, which, by the way, I checked my gun and his gun, but we had an armorer on set, okay? He checked the guns. I checked the guns. I checked his gun because we're shooting these things at each other. Right. What the guy forgot to tell me is that it fires out a wad, right? There's no projectile in it, but they're filming it. The reason for the blank is for the muzzle flash. You know what I mean? The sparks coming out of the end of the gun when it's being shot.
Right.
That's it. That is a projectile in itself. And if you are standing close enough, you can be hit smack dab between the eyes by Rick Dyer when he's shooting a 45 at you. And this happened to me. Like it hit me so hard, it jerked my head back. Like whop. and I've got this burning thing in between my eyes. But
and you immediately thought this SOB just shot me for real.
No, I knew it wasn't real. I wouldn't have made it, but it was just like, wow, guys, y'all really should have told us not to point the guns actually at each other. I thought we was good. Me and Tom Green pointed the guns at each other, I guess. And that was Tom Green's first time he had ever shot a gun. Which was weird, which was very funny because he's like, I see why you guys think this is so fun. And I'm like, why is he holding the gun right now? Like, this is, man, no business holding a firearm at that point. Yeah, it was a blast to work on. Rick was fun to hang out with. He told me the stories and his side of it.
Yeah.
There's some people who ain't very truthful in this Bigfoot world. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I was there to bust it. I was there to bust it." Rick claims you was part of it the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah, like, we're very aware of those kind of people.
Yeah. Well, I won't say no names, but like, there's one guy who's always there, who's the opposite of Rick, saying it's fake. He's there to bust the hoax. I'm sure we know who we're talking about. I'm not going to mention his name. Yeah, but that's part of the game. Like, what Rick did to everybody was actually pretty amazing. Like, dude, you straight up got everybody. He got me the first time.
Yeah.
You know how much money he made off of all that? Like, a lot, bro.
Yeah.
A lot. And I'm not condoning it. But for what it is, when you look at it, it's like, okay, he had CNN there. He had Fox News there, ABC, and they're all paying to get these interviews. He's doing interviews in Hong Kong. He's doing them in Brazil. He's doing them everywhere.
Right.
All around the world. Busy, 9 to 5. And he's making money. And then so, it peters out.
Yeah.
That's not the amazing part.
No, that's not.
The amazing part is he got you all to believe it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, come on, bro. Now, hey, I'll give it to him. That tent video that he has.
Yeah.
That's the best Bigfoot video there is.
When I saw
that thing
I
looks
showed
good,
it to my
bud.
son. It does. I showed it to my son, and he was like, "Man, them things are real, aren't they?" And I'm like, "It looks like it." And yeah, it impressed me too. Until a couple of weeks later, everybody was showing his tent and all that, and I'm like, "Son of a gun! No, not again."
Yeah, it didn't.
Mark, you didn't cut Stacy off again, did you?
No, I didn't. He's got camera problems. He may be having audio problems now.
Well, I hope not. He's kind of back.
There he is.
Nope. There he goes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It just all started to glitch. But anyways, yeah, our footage come out about the same time Rick Dyer's did, the tent footage. And so they were telling us that they were putting out a list, and there was this video that was better than the thermal. I was like, oh, wow, can we see it? And he's like, yeah, and he sent it to me. And this is the Facebook Find Bigfoot people, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow. So I seen it before it came out, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, who shot this? And he's like, Rick Dyer. I was like, and you think it's real? And he's like, yo, this is absolutely, we've confirmed it on all these different things. I'm like, oh yeah, sure you have, bud. Sure you have.
Were they in on it with Rick Dyer, or did they just get sucked into it by Rick?
They're just stupid.
Okay.
They were stupid.
Okay.
Like I mean that. Like honestly, that's just not a word I'm throwing out there. They were actually stupid. For brilliant guys, for really smart people, they were stupid. You know what I'm saying? It was like I had to threaten them with a lawsuit. So like we sent the footage to them, and they were like, all right, we're gonna put it out. And they announced on their website, hey, we got this new footage coming out here in a few days. I was like, hey, what footage you talking about, bro? They're like, yours. And I was like, no.
Oh.
No. And they're like, yeah, we don't really feel the need to wait. I was like, dude, we're not done with the investigation. I'll send it to you as a courtesy just to see if you thought it was real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we sent it to 5 people. That was one of them. And he just was like, no, we're putting it out. And I was like, all right, cool, bud. I'll have my lawyer call you here in a few minutes. So that happened, and they didn't put it out, but they had sent me like these thermal cameras after I got the footage. They sent me a bunch of equipment. It was older equipment, but it was still equipment. And we used that for a while. You know, they let us have it for like a year. We got a few other pieces of footage with it, but they were more or less inconclusive. We knew what it was because at the certain height you had to be to grab those things. You know what I'm saying? But you really couldn't tell. You could see the heat. You know, it didn't look no better than that video from North Carolina where the thing's crawling. It's like, you know, that could be a dude. You know what I mean? Like even when the recreation was done, but it was, I guess, it was even kind of worse than that because it was like, just like the head. It almost, I guess, if I had to, there's a video where he's peeking around a wood stack, like a chopped up firewood stack. Yeah. I think it may be from North Carolina too, but it's like peeking up over the top and reaching around. You can't really tell what it is. It's like, oh, it's Bigfoot, it's Bigfoot. So like I have other pieces of footage like that, but what's the point of putting that out? You know, it doesn't get anybody anywhere. You know, it just gets a bunch of people telling you that you faked it. So what's the point?
Yeah. Oh, I understand that. But daily people are putting pictures on Facebook with red circles on them that you have to really look to see anything.
Have you seen them lately? So, like you should pull one right now. Go pull up a group right now and tell me the first thing you see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is it going to be? It's going to be something very sad. Very sad. Yeah. So you got to think about it, man. Like, that's the thing with the whole Outcast Paranormal. It's like, you guys are doing something wrong. Like something's not right. Like, especially we've been into this technology phase where we've had the best technology really the last 10 years. It's getting better, you know. But the technology versus the 50 years before that really wasn't that great. You know, you had to go off of visual sightings and stuff like that. So we should be able to have a lot of footage. And they're like, oh, it's a matter of time. Why is it a matter of time? Like, why are we not doing this? What are you guys not doing?
Right.
You know, what are you leaving out of the equation? Because there's something there. It may maybe just be something easy, but it's just like we're all in the same thing of, hey, let's go out, bang on the trees. You know, let's call. Let's go in a huge group of people. You know, I'm not one to tell somebody to go by themselves, but if you have the ability to go out there by yourself, go. Like, I mean, seriously, if you know the woods good enough and you're not going to end up like one of them dudes on Missing 411, go. Quit being scared of the dark. That is the biggest thing I would say to the Bigfoot community. Quit being scared of the dark.
Yeah.
Turn off your flashlight. Let your eyes adjust and walk or go out there and stay in the middle of nowhere by yourself. You know who actually does that? Todd Standing. Say whatever you want to about him. Most of that footage he has is complete bull. Like that one, that's another thing me and Les go back on all the time, back and forth on. This dude's full of it. Like the taxidermied face, the one with the marble eyes just sitting there staring, that's not a Bigfoot. Sorry to break it to y'all. That's really actually pretty bad. Looks like a Muppet, and then and it doesn't blink. So then his next video comes out. Kind of looks like him. And guess what it does? A whole lot. Blinks. That was the biggest complaint after his first video. Yeah. Now, people still buying it. Remember, Rick Dyer hoaxed Bigfoot community twice. So, these are the people you're dealing with. And I hate to say it. Some of y'all got to quit being so gullible, bought in on it. You know what I mean? Like, bought in on it. These are the people that, like, drank the Kool-Aid at Jim Jones's place. If people actually knew how close they were at any given time to joining a cult, it would terrify them.
Right.
Yeah.
It ain't take much for somebody to come around and con you, talk you into something.
Yeah.
It happens to people all the time. And unfortunately, it's happening to the whole country right now, but we're not going to talk about that, I guess. I don't want to get the show censored. I just love it. Hey, don't you remember the last time the good guys were censoring everybody?
Yeah.
You remember when that was? Yeah. I don't either. But Todd Standing goes out there and stays by himself. Standing, and so why can't people do it? And it is a scary thing. I had to get over it myself. Like it was those first few times, that first 3 months of willing myself out there to stay where I believe there was Bigfoots in Torreya, where my dad got the footage, to go out there and stay by myself for a week. When I had that Bigfoot bounty money, that's what I did. When I got the research grant, I did just that. I researched with that until the money ran out, and which lasted about a year and a half. I didn't have nothing to show for the money. I got that thermal, but that was gave to me by the company. It's like you get the money to buy the things, and they start giving you this stuff.
Yeah.
But it took me a minute. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's times I'd be terrified out there. But do you want it or not?
Right.
And I know it's fun to go and hobbyist and go and look. There's nothing wrong with that. But support the people that do. And I'm not saying myself. I don't go out as much as I should. I don't go out that much anymore. I've just been stuck editing. But there's time coming soon where I'm going to spend a lot more time back at it.
Yeah.
But if some people actually have the time, some people, and they have Patreons and things like that, and you may be supporting them through their YouTube channel, but these are the people that are going to get results.
Yeah.
The people that are going out there by themselves. Find somebody online. All you got to do is give them $5 a month. You can't even give me $5. I don't have nothing set up. I'm not talking for myself. I'm really not. I'm talking about there's younger cats. Like I got hit by a dump truck. I can't really do like I used to. That's like when I see Connor and I'm like, damn, he can sleep in a car and stuff, I can't do like I still do, but I can't do it for the time, the length of time, the 20 days. I'll be done. My chiropractor asks me all the time what in the world I'm thinking. Felt like I was about to die the other night. I slept in a jail. It was a haunted jail. It wasn't like an active jail. But yeah, that's what we have to do. The community has to quit the squabbling, quit letting people get to you. We have these, look at the apers.
Yeah.
And then the guys that believe they come through portals. And then you also got the guys that believe they come through aliens. Hey, it could be. It could be any of those. We don't know. But what do they do? They fight. When I grew up, what was the thing? UFOs were the thing. But my dad was like into UFOs. So I knew a lot about that whole kick. And the people that thought that the UFOs come from under the water were treated just like these people who think that the Bigfoots come through the portals.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that, if y'all were into it then, early 90s. That's what it was. That's how it was. The people that said the UFOs are coming from out of the water, those reports were just like the orbs. They're just omitted. That little nugget we needed is just omitted. Just like all the BFRO reports.
Yeah.
All the BFRO reports. If you're in a BFRO now, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Their
reports they omit stuff.
Right. They edit them.
You cannot do that just because it sounds crazy to you. I don't care. I need the whole story, bud. This is why we can't fix anything.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Because I don't this is like Alex Jones pisses me off. Do you know what I mean? Like you seen Alex Jones just blow up. That's how I feel right now. I'm trying not to, it's just it's crazy to me. Like, it's so aggravating. You have this database. Okay, yeah. All right, Matt. Get your stuff in order, bud.
Yeah.
Get your stuff in order. Quit omitting stuff. And I know he's not doing it. He's not the one that does. All these researchers that are out there, and they have a certain belief. He's not the one that's actually saying he'll admit that. But I've talked to him. I know people in the BFR are the good people. You're just quit that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't doesn't hurt anybody to know that. Doesn't hurt anybody. It's like, yeah, hey, 15 minutes before I thought I saw a UFO. Then I saw a Bigfoot cross my field.
Yeah.
You don't think that's correlated?
Yeah.
Like, you don't, like, that was the thing. When I was talking about network television, cable television, stupid Spike, okay? Spike TV. We all seen a UFO. 18 of it, the cast members and crew members, seen a UFO right in front of Mount Adams. It was huge. Big fireball. We watched it probably for 3 minutes and it zipped off. No sound, nothing. You got to figure where we were staying. Mount Adams took up the whole sky. That's how close we were to this thing. This thing was like flying in front of it. And it just takes off. Well, then about 30 minutes later, we start hearing knocks around our cabin. Because we're staying like a kind of a campground, like a complex almost. There's a few like cabins set up like a little, I don't know, it's like something like you would see on a reality TV show, right?
Right.
So me and David are sitting there and we're hearing these knocks and we all been drinking. You know what I mean? Because what we did in the evenings, they gave us a lot of us 4 cases a night. So there was 18 people that really didn't go that far. Because like the Indian guys that was on there, Dave and Dan, them some big old boys. It takes them like a case. You know what I mean? So they like down some beer. But anyways, we're all hearing this stuff and it's like 4 a.m. and we done been out filming all day and we've been winding down and we're hearing these knocks. And I look at Dave and Dave's like, let's go. And I said, let's hear one more. We'll hear one more first. And then we heard another one right there afterwards. And we went out. And so we come up on this trackway. Right? Uh-huh. And so I follow these tracks all the way out into a field where there's a little stream that's about 12 inches wide across. And the tracks just disappeared, right? The stream, it was just rocks in it, but it just went to nowhere. You know, it went maybe 30 yards and then hit impenetrable brush that was around it in the middle of this field. There was like these little tightly grown trees around it. You couldn't, if you're a Bigfoot, couldn't run through there. So they let us talk about that. They let us submit the evidence that we found because we found hair on the barbed wire where it crossed. But we could not mention the UFO.
Wow. Wow.
And so, like, they were adamant, you cannot mention the UFO. And so it's like, I never said anything on that show that I didn't believe. But I had to not say certain things.
Yeah.
And that was bothersome. It's annoying. Show's stupid anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Might as well let me say it was UFO. And I was like, damn, you got a Bigfoot game show. How stupid are we getting? I don't know. Maury Povitz been on for like 30 years, so I guess people love stupid.
Yeah. Like they love it.
Because that was a stupid concept. That's why my dad, like, they asked me and my dad at first, and my dad's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going on a Bigfoot game show. He's like, Junior would do it for you, though. He'd probably love it. And they're like, can you find somebody else? And then I was like, yeah, all right, I'll get somebody else. But it was fun. We went to all those different sites, and they tested DNA.
Yeah.
And it worked out for me. I got the research grant. But,
Right.
you know, besides that, it was dumb. And that one, it was a $5 million production. And for the love of God, Superman was the host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Superman was the host. So they definitely wanted a certain thing, you know, and they kind of weave their story, that whole argument between me and Michael. They started that.
Really?
I was going to beat Michael's face in. Like, I straight up told him, I was like, if you take another step, I'm putting you down.
Yeah.
And they told, we're out sitting there, and my producer had been filling me in on, hey man, Mike's running around, he's dogging you out to the other guys. What do you think about that? And so I gave an explicitive answer. You know, I'm like 28 or something like that at the time, I think.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that long ago. I was probably about 30. Anyways, I was, you know, full of vinegar still.
Yeah.
And then so they take us to a bar, and he's like, hey, you going to say something to Mike? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to say something to Mike. He's like, well, make it good, man. And I was like, oh, don't worry, it's going to be good. He's like, nah, but I want it to be real good. I was like, what you mean? He's like, can it be real good? And I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, have me, I'm going to go to the bathroom, get me 3 shots of Jack and a Jack and Coke. When I get back, have that sitting there. It was sitting there, and I downed that stuff real quick. Got loud. But they started all that. They started all that, and that's what they wanted. And then then they tried to kick me off.
Yeah.
They tried to kick me off for threatening violence, because he come out to kind of apologize, I guess, or maybe to have the last word, because Mike always wants to have the last word.
Yeah.
And when he come out, he was walking, and I was like, you take another step, dude, I'm gonna put you down. I'm just not even messing with you anymore. My hair's smoking. You're bothering me now. There's not a table.
In your opinion, does Michael Merchant really believe in Bigfoot or not? I never can tell.
Michael's a scientist at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He's a biologist, basically. Or he is a biologist. I guess basically
Right.
that makes you a scientist. Not really sure how that works. Scientist is become a derogatory term in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. But
are you trying to say you don't like Fauci? Never mind.
I wish my camera was working right now. But it's hard to love a man that does that kind of stuff to beagles. And foster kids.
Yeah.
But you know, it's Mike's seen something that changed his mind.
Okay.
Mike's now experiencing things of the other real part of Bigfoot that we just don't talk about. Long Island Bigfoot, he's a trained scientist. I know we're all scientists, but he's trained. He got some schooling.
Yeah.
Sorry, answering a comment. But yeah, so What was we talking about?
You were
Dr.
talking
Fauci.
about.
Dr.
No, you were talking
Fauci.
about Michael saw something on the other side of the Bigfoot subject.
So I'm going to talk like Dr. Fauci while I answer this question. Michael saw the stuff, you see, that me, Stacy Brown, Fauci, and Les Stroud have experienced. Some people, they call it mind speak see.
But yeah, okay, that's all we're gonna do on that. But he's experienced some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other stuff is a very big part to this Bigfoot question. We ignore it. I don't ignore it. Other people ignore it. What does it take for you to give it a chance? But he's experienced some of this other stuff, so he's a little bit more extreme than me, you know. That he believes in like a Bigfoot oligarchy, I guess is the term. Hierarchy, maybe. Hierarchy, I think.
Yeah.
With like Zorth, things of these nature. I haven't really experienced the mind speak like they have. Okay, like less straight up telepathy. Let's call it what it is. Let's quit calling it mind speak. Okay, that dumbs me down. So telepathy. It's been a thing for a long time. Mind speak is like the crayon wrote version of that.
Right.
So we'll call it telepathy. Okay. And so when you experience that, you have to ask yourself if you're nuts. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, I'm a schizophrenic because I really heard a voice. So I had something happen. I didn't hear it, so to speak. I didn't hear a voice at this moment. It was more of a gut feeling. You know what I mean? And so I think maybe sometimes that's it. But then me and Bill Brock were doing some stuff with the Mothman, and I actually did hear a voice. I did hear a voice, and that got my goat. That was a pretty intense moment. That would come out of nowhere. So it was the telepathy. I think people just don't look into. They don't give it a chance because it's so hard to believe. We've been conditioned to believe that we know everything. Look at the lengths the governments went to keep UFOs under wraps. What's to say they're not doing the same thing with Bigfoot?
Right.
Like, really? We know they looked into it. Do they have secret programs where they go around and they just, discredit it? They go to these conferences and discredit it, and they're trying to shoot everything down all the time. They don't look into stuff. Bob Gimlin, maybe I didn't communicate back. It just said a few words, and then I stopped hearing it. But it's just very annoying that people don't look into that. So I guess Michael Merchant now at this point, it's like, is he playing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like some of the things he's saying, but he's not. He's not. Yeah. He very much wants the truth, and that's the problem with it. You have to understand, like, neither one of you guys are going to turn me in any different path than the path that I'm on. I met you along the way, and I said, hey, and I kept going down the same path. The truth is what's leading my thing, and unfortunately, the truth is kind of getting weird.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, seriously, guys, like, how many times do you have to see the lights and have Bigfoot activity before you start calling it? Maybe they're the same. Maybe it's something to look into. And so, like, with this whole pareidoia thing in the Bigfoot community, if you're active in the paranormal community, you know that pareidoia is considered evidence.
Yeah.
The Bigfoot world, it's not. It's not at all. It's like, oh, you had to draw a circle, or oh, it's just a face. We see faces everywhere. Yeah, but if we're in the paranormal, we're talking about ghosts and stuff. That same stuff happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's completely different. The two worlds paranormal and Bigfoot are so far apart from each other. Because the problem with the paranormal is that they, beyond a shadow of a doubt, believe they're talking to spirits. Okay? They have nothing to back that up. They have absolutely nothing. It doesn't have to be spirits. It could be some form of artificial intelligence. Let's just say we're living in a simulation. We don't know it. Chances are, a lot of scientists believe that chances are we are living in a simulation. If I had to tell you everything that happened to me in my life, you would not believe 90% of it. It just sounds so outlandish. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, wow, this stuff just kind of happens. It's almost like it's a simulation.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
maybe it could be something to do with AI. We on the skunk ape experiments, we work with a guy over in the UK who has that belief. You know what I'm saying? So we do experiments to see if it's the AI. The results we get are, they make you kind of be like, huh. You know what I'm saying? So that's the cool thing about it. But and then like, what if time is just like Einstein said? Everything that's ever going to happen is happening right now, past, present, future.
Right.
Right. If time is just stacked like that, how do we know these spirits that we're seeing aren't just like, you know what I mean? We were in the same place at the same time as somebody from 1873. You know what I'm saying? Like, was the ghost scared? Like, because that's the thing. And the paranormal community, it's like the Bigfoot thing with the other dimensions and the lights and stuff. In the paranormal community, they don't want to talk about the incidents where the ghost was equally terrified.
Yeah.
Those are a thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't know, that those are an actual thing. So there are instances where people have wrote down in their journal, oh my gosh, I just seen, and he was clad in some godly wear or something like that. The dude goes and writes in his journal about his ghost experience. 40 years, 60 years later, the grandson sees a ghost, goes and tells his grandma. Grandma's like, oh my God, my daddy wrote about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a few of them. They're quite famous, but they're so stuck on one thing that they don't notice the similarities that are in both of them.
Yeah.
I think it's always important to not box yourself in with your own opinions and set them in concrete, and that you should be open-minded to listen to anybody's opinion and at least consider it and weigh it.
Right.
But one thing that whenever we talk to you is I would like to for you to give us the backstory of your dad filming this Bigfoot, this skunk ape on thermal, because it's some of the most amazing footage that I think is out there. And so, would you mind telling us the backstory, and we'll just look at the footage?
Sure, man. So it was a Tuesday. I was at work. Now I had my first encounter November 6, 2011. Okay. The thing walked right up to the edge of the firelight. Was breathing heavy. It just turned around and walked off, but it continued. So then I'm at work. My dad calls me. He had cancer, and so he wasn't able to be with me on that trip. But he had gotten over the cancer, and he had, we had started.
Well, looks like Stacy's having some internet problems, but this is just some of the most amazing footage. I have looked at this up 1,000 times, and it's just being able to capture that was just totally awesome. And what were your thoughts, Larry, whenever you saw this footage for the first time?
Oh, I thought it was cool. And that's one of the main reasons I got a flare was because of this footage. I thought that's a game changer right there. I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to stand out. And another cool aspect of this is Fleer, the actual company, had him present this video, I think at some conference or something for the company, the Fleer company itself. So, I mean, it impressed more people than just in the Bigfoot community. It impressed people outside of the Bigfoot community. So, yeah, there he is.
I apologize. I have no idea what's going on with my connection. Anyways, so he asked me, I told him to get my stuff there at the house, come get me, and we rode out. Like I said, it was Tuesday. There was nobody else in the parking lot, so we hiked down to Rock Creek there in Torreya State Park, a pretty isolated part of the park. It was about a little bit over a mile to walk back to it, and the campgrounds are cool because they're on like a ridge, right? And there's a creek running around it, and so you got high palmettos up on there, and then the campgrounds are kind of tucked in those palmettos. It's hard to really see what's going on in each campground, but they're primitive, no power, nothing like that. So we were cooking some ribs, and I had some White Zombie on at the time, and we heard some knocks. My dad thought it was the wind blowing the trees together, and because it had been raining a little bit that day, it was kind of like just a steady drizzle all day. Nothing real heavy, but it was enough to soak everything. So then we heard him again, and then we heard one that there was a grunt in front of, like a, so that was, we decided to go out, lights out, and we put the camera on black hot so you can see the, like the floor of the forest, and just follow the trail out as we were going. It was kind of like the perfect storm because we had cicadas. It was like May 8th, but the cicadas were just deafening, right? And coming out of that campground, the palmettos are tall. You're on this real narrow trail. So they couldn't see us, I think was what it was. They couldn't see us, right? For whatever, just because we're obstructed. But you heard things running around. So I believe there was probably 3 to 4 of them there that night. We got out, approaching the trail, crossed over the little bridge there, and then we're approaching the trail, went off on the trail, and then something come running down the ridge and then stopped. Whatever it was, seen us, right? So at first, my dad's looking at it. He thought it was a coon. Then he thought it was 2 coons. And then it just shot out, and that was, it was terrifying and confusing because I didn't see it. I was filming him, as we film every time we go out, we're filming. So anything happens, we have it. And luckily with that sighting, we have the thermal, and we have us actually leaving the camp and capturing the footage and then going back. You know what I mean? You see my dad on the Skunk Ape Lives, which is on Survivor Man's YouTube. If you want to check it out for free, by the way. Haven't seen it. But you get to see him actually become a Bigfoot believer on camera. And that was really, you know, looking back on it, was special, man. That was something that I got to do with my best friend that I'll never get to do again. It's like winning the Super Bowl, bud. I knew what we had. He didn't. He didn't really accept it until Bobo come down. But like I said, we sent it to 5 people. Derek Randalls, Meldrum, Cliff, Facebook Finding Bigfoot guys. This guy, Joe Mastroni, a friend of mine, sent it to him. Besides that, we kept it close to the chest. Didn't say nothing to nobody. We were going back and forth. Cliff agreed to do the investigation. And then he tried to talk my dad into being on Finding Bigfoot, you know, because that was ultimately where Cliff wanted to get with it, I think. My dad was reluctant about being on TV. He didn't want it. He didn't want to go on there for the chance that they're going to say something about him, make something up. You know, he's a hoaxer. His hoaxer is. But dude, I was just out there and just film this thing. I don't really want a media circus. I don't want people in my town to know me for that. But it turned out good that happened. Like in the Skunk Ape Lives, there's a retired Rangers interview in there. And that was only because my dad got that footage. The funny thing is, we went to church with that guy.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, and we didn't know anything about that. And that's like a government cover-up story. But, you know, Cliff did the investigation. We would go out there, and this was a spot where we had like howls a few months before. Cliff had recorded some whoops there like 8 months before, you know, so it kind of helped that he did the investigation because he had been in the area. But he would ask us for numbers from the site, and we would give him numbers and send them to him, and then we'd come back out. And you got to figure, we went out there, I don't know, we were at least going out every month, you know, if not multiple times a month, and gathering numbers for him so he could do his investigation. And then he came down and checked the numbers, which was cool, you know, because then when he came up with like something that was like 8 foot 3 inches tall, that's got your science behind it.
Yeah.
People ain't want to trust the effing science then. They still want to, you know, it's still a hoax. Still a hoax. Yeah. Government's your best friend.
Right.
Yeah, so that was it, man. It was a hell of a ride. It proved it to my dad. It proved it to me. It's not proof to anyone else. The rest of you should take it with a grain of salt. And, you know, try to find one yourself. Try to have your own encounter, because until you see it, I don't care how much you believe in it, you don't know.
Right.
I would not be vested in this right now had I not seen it. A fruitless hobby.
Yes.
I
agree.
Like, hey, once you see it, it's a blessing or a curse, but you got to see it. I commend people that haven't seen it, but they're doing the research because they think it's cool or they believe. But, you know, it doesn't make sense to me why you. Well, but I did it before, and I didn't do it a lot. I see some people that have never had an encounter, and they are like balls to the wall to have one, and they do all this stuff, and it's just like, right on, dude. But it's just hard for me to believe that you would do that when you haven't.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully you will. Hopefully you all will. There's something to look at. You know, they really are.
Well, we got time for a couple of questions.
Well, so good. I've got one.
If you have questions, put them in all caps. Go ahead, Larry.
So out of all the stuff you do, paranormal, Bigfoot, movie making, music, and I'm probably missing 3 more, what is your absolute favorite thing?
Wow. I don't know. I really don't know. I like them all. Definitely. They're Bigfooting probably. Honestly, just because I love the outdoors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love being out in the woods, put my feet in the dirt, getting on the creek, just hiking. I love it,
Yeah.
man. It's cool to have a switch off with the paranormal because it gets awful hot there.
Right.
Yeah.
So, hog hunting is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
That's exhilarating. Like, Stacy, hogs are deer for hunting season. Not hunting this year, bud. I love the turkey hunt. That's fun. Turkey hunting's a
Yeah.
blast. Spring turkey. The fall's fun, but spring turkey's better. But
Right.
hog hunting, when you get to put your hands on the animal, that's fun. Because we go hunting with dogs, and you get the bay dog on them, and you put that pit in there on him, and you got to go in there and pick the hog up by the legs and flip him, and put your knee in his throat, and then hog time. We
Okay.
successfully do this in the skunk ape experiments.
Yeah.
The goal being to hunt Bigfoot off of the hogs. So we put a collar on a hog and turned him loose into this place with high Bigfoot activity, skunk ape activity, and then we just monitor the GPS wherever he's going.
Yeah.
We had like a Doug Highcheck hooked us up with some water soluble tape.
Uh-huh.
So you just build a collar with your GPS on it. You have your water soluble tape. You attach it to the live animal once you catch live animal, and
Yeah.
then when he gets it wet, it'll fall off, and then you just go and retrieve it. And in the meantime, you're trying to hunt Bigfoot off of his location because he's going to find the other hogs.
Yeah. That
You
Doug
know,
is an out of the box thinking dude.
he is
Yeah.
a very
Yeah.
brilliant guy.
Yeah, very brilliant. Okay, Nona Boss asks, can you please tell us about your expedition coming up next month?
So basically, the place there, Crowley Nature Museum, they have skunk ape on the property that frequent the property. Okay. And they're a non-profit, so they don't really have they work off grants, fundraisers, things of that nature. I took Finding Bigfoot there. And we actually, those knocks on the show when me and Matt that we heard, those were legit. But there's been Bigfoot. It's right off of the Myakka River. The Bigfoot, the skunk ape, they just go up and down the river. You'll have a ton of sightings in August in this location, and it's just trying to find that when they're there. You know what I mean? The terrain is like when they were saying Brian Laundrie was down there in the Carlton Reserve. That's where this is.
Uh-huh.
Okay, like he could have got ate by a gator, bro. Like that land. I took Cliff out there on Finding Bigfoot for 3 days. We stayed out in that area, and if you don't know the woods, he didn't really look like the kind of guy that knew what he was doing. He died real quick.
Yeah.
Killer bees, alligators, crocodiles, pythons, water moccasins, rattlesnakes, panthers, you name it. And there's a lot of alligators.
Yeah.
A lot. Just look up, I think it's called Deep Hole. YouTube Deep Hole Myakka. Just look at that. And they're all like going through the woods and stuff. Oh, and then hogs. Tons of hogs. Tons of huge hogs. So, but yeah, it's just about sold out. Got like 5 tickets left. So they'll go quick. 2-day camp out. We'll go squatching. There is a haunted house on the property. Like an old house that's really haunted. So we will, for the people that want to, ghost hunt some. You know what I mean? I've got me and my buddies, the guys that usually go out with me. Some guys from Outcast Paranormal will probably be there too. And we'll split up into groups of about 4, maybe 5. and go out. So it's more of you have a better chance. But we have a bunch of places to go in Mayaca. We'll go in the state park, so it's going to be roughing it for 2 days. And it's going to be fun, man. It's just a fundraiser to give that place some money to kind of help that skunk ape habitat not get developed. They're putting in so many houses down there, man.
Okay, Daniel Lundy asked, did you find any sign off of Highway 98 in the Encinitas River?
Econfina. So,
Encinitas.
Yeah.
The drink, that's where they get the water. Yes, actually, that is my main research area right now. So, Lundy, you probably know about Goose Pasture. Okay, that's where we do a lot of our stuff in and around that area. I'm going to check out something in the next few days as soon as I can get out. But there's definitely like they're there. Have anybody seen the skunk ape video where the guy Johnny Crumb, I think is there Johnny Harris? He said he shot at one. It tore down all these damn. It like made a path, tore all this. It was the Facebook video that just like blew up. Yeah. Remember, he was like, I called my buddies, tell him the older man, looks like that. Looks like there's twists, there's breaks, and they're all over. They're just in a line. You know what I mean? It's like, because I have people that come down and I'll do like private expeditions. So if you want to come down and just me and you go, I do charge for those, but I cook for you, provide everything, and I actually take you to find one. That's the difference in like this thing I'm doing in Mayaca. I'm still taking you to find one, but there's going to be a bunch of us.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a different experience. I've got 5 people I'm talking to, as versus to just one guy getting to hear me rant. So I do those, throughout the year. But we went to one and we really had some. I haven't made the video. I just haven't had time. Like once I get done with this skunk ape experiments first episode, I'm going to have like a few weeks where I can get this backlog of footage out on my YouTube. I haven't put video out in months just because I've been so, involved in this other thing. But yeah, so one of my team members went back there the other day, and this was like there was trees blocking the road, and then that's what it was. It's like it's almost trying to keep us out, and so that's cool. I'm going to check that out. But yeah, the thing with the Econfina River in that area, you have 4 major rivers right here. You have the St. Mark's River, you have the Wasissa, then the Oscilla, and then the Econfina, and they're all right there by each other. I would say within 50 miles, maybe 40 miles, something like that. And so it creates this big like watershed, and this whole area is fertile. There's like plants everywhere. I mean, it's just isolated. This huge like I think 500,000 acre like area. You know what I mean? It's a lot of land.
Yeah.
So anyways, I have Bigfoot reports all around every single river. It's like all these rivers converge where they're going out into the Gulf, and it's a really fruitful area for skunk ape research. So like, dude, if you ever get to go out to Goose Pasture and try Sinks Road.
Wow. There you go.
Try Sinks Road. I do have to say, and Lundy, you probably know this too. Okay, so he says Western Sloughs. Yeah, he knows. So Weeloney, I'll just talk to him directly here. Hit me up. We can ride out to Weeloney. Like Weeloney's the spot.
Wow.
Weeloney is the spot. And so there's like a series of islands around these rivers and stuff. So like you can't get to them. We take a boat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like they're on these islands. They frequent them. They go in and out of that river. It's too hot to stay out of the water. You got to understand, you can't live in the woods down here in the heat in the summertime and keep no weight, chase no deer down. You got to cool off.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just weird because when I'm out in the woods, cut-offs, bro. Samurai ponytail, dip in my mouth. I'm out there in a creek. Oh, what up?
Let's see. We got time for 2 last questions. And Hilton asked, what do you think is needed to prove their existence to everyday people?
Body.
Yep.
A body. I'm hoping that we don't have to have that. I can't say what I'm working on right now, but I have a trip coming up in a few weeks that may prove beyond a shadow of a doubt these things did exist at one time.
Wow.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say right now. Should have probably even said that, but no, bud. I don't. I like to keep control. Back in the day, if I'd have thought about it, probably, but I don't. I don't. I try to meditate. Do some singing bowl. I know I'm one of the few people that probably carries my spirit box with me when I'm Bigfooting. Our REM pods, my EMF meters. They're all in the tool bag, bro. Like, hey, if they can communicate telepathically, then talk to me through this radio, because I can't hear you telepathically, bud.
Yeah.
If you can do the other, I think you should be able to do that. Maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. I don't know.
Well, Larry, we're out of time. Did you have any last questions?
I got questions for days, but I know he got home from work late. I got home from work late, so we'll just have to have him on again and ask some more questions.
Yeah.
Sounds good, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on, but if y'all haven't done it already, follow me on YouTube at Bigfoot Stacy, and then outcastparanormal.com. You can find us on all social medias, Facebook, TikTok. We got content coming, so we got interviews and stuff we're doing right now. But my buddy James, he knocks out these interviews, and if you're into UFOs, James is a UFO nut, so he's interviewed like I think Nick Pope and Rick Doughty and all these famous UFO people. They got these great stories, So they're all on our Outcast Paranormal YouTube channel, and it's coming out. It'll be around January, so I'll let you guys know.
All right. And we're gonna put your links. We're gonna pin them at the top of the comment section. So if you haven't subscribed to Bigfoot Stacy, please go to YouTube and subscribe. It's just a catalog of films and videos over the years, and what I can't think of a better guy to follow. And
I should probably start an OnlyFans.
Well, you better get that camera worked out.
Yeah, right. It's these Chinese parts, man. It's all, make some stuff in America.
It's all good.
Okay, we want to thank you again for coming on, Stacy.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate your time, and we think a lot of you and what you do. We appreciate the different people you work with and the thinking outside the box. And you are a mentor to so many of us out there. So, and I also want to say, I haven't talked to you since you lost your paw, and we do want to give you our condolences for losing your dad. We know he was a big part of your life, and he was a great man, and we thought a lot of him too.
Well, thank you much. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, we appreciate everybody joining in tonight in the chat room and watching, and we will see everybody again. Same bat time, same bat channel. Night, footers.
Later.
Beast TV would like to welcome all of our new Facebook members. Be sure to check out our pictures and videos of possible evidence. And if you haven't checked out the Files tab, there is a wealth of information that you may find beneficial. If you would like to support Beast TV, check out our gear. We have coffee mugs, face masks, gaiters, shirts, and tank tops. The link is pinned at the top of the comment section. Everything is always marked down 20%. So come check out our junk.
This has been a Sawdust production.